What's cracking? What's cracking? What's cracking? It's your boy, Young Samaj. You just tuned in to the Samaj Vlog, episode number 9. And today, I'm going to talk about how to avoid child support when you take care of your kids. That's right. So today's vlog derives out of my own personal experience. Of course, on vlog number 1, I talked about hinted to my divorce a little bit and everything like that, and talked about just opinions of people in that particular first vlog. So in this particular one, I want to talk about the situation with me. I'm not gonna go too deep because I just really just want to share the information, because I feel like there's a lot. When I went through it, I'll go through things and anything I'm going through, either I'm going to study that thing or I'm going to already have studied that thing, hopefully, because I just do a lot of deep diving in when I get into a topic that I like, or a topic that's particularly dealing with me. So anyway, this topic comes out because of my personal experience. And so what happened is, in a nutshell, is my ex basically tried to get child support against me, and I'll take care of my children. And so I basically said, okay, I'm gonna fight it. I had money for a lawyer possibly, but I wasn't gonna do the lawyer thing. I was just gonna go with the flow and fight it. If at some point that I feel like I may have needed a lawyer, I would try that. But I just said I'm just trying to go and fight it because I know I take care of my children, and I know I'm there for my children. What actually transpired is I got a formula out of this. I saw what I needed to do and what I actually did, and I actually won the case. Like, I don't have to pay child support. So I want to share this with other black men, because I feel like they might be going through the same thing. So and the thing about it is when basically when the court says let's get this big whole deal like it's you versus her type thing, it's really, when it comes down to this court situation, is you versus the South Carolina, where I live, economic system. And I'm gonna break that down for you and show you what I mean by that. But it's not you against her, it's you against South Carolina and the economy of South Carolina. So that's what you have to prove. And so when we go into the case, I saw a couple things. The first thing I saw is you have to be present. If you miss the negotiation phase, and it's you knowingly have been served, you know about the court date. If you miss the negotiation phase, they're going to go ahead and work out the child support thing in your absence. Now, I don't know what you could do after that, like appeal and stuff like that. You probably could do appeal, but you don't want to already have the paperwork going against you. You know what I mean? So, and if that's the case, you will already have the paperwork going against you, because they'll go ahead and write it up and then start proceeding with what they did. So be present. I'll let you know, the first time that you come, you already have almost like a get out of jail free card. So I don't know, as long as you don't, I don't know your legal situation, but as long as nothing against you legally, when you come, if you were not married while your child was born, so maybe you really feel like this is the child that's you're being asked to support through the court, is your child. If you maybe you really feel like that's your child, but you just want to be 100% because you don't know how things are going to turn out, you get to have a paternity test. Now, I did find out, like, when you're married that the paternity test doesn't really matter if you were married and then a child is born. Then by marriage, you are, the father. You're responsible, financially responsible. But if you wasn't married, and there was a child born, and you want to be 100% that is yours before you even start this process, you get that chance. You get that chance to have a paternity test. So you'll come there, you'll say, I want a paternity test. If that's what you get what's going against you, if you basically going to type up things, they're going to look at things, and I'm going to talk about that through that, but they're going to look at these core things, and I'm going to break down each core thing to you, but they're going to look at these core things, and they're going to have an amount that either you have to pay, or sometimes it's the mother, or have to pay. So they'll have an amount. So what you'll do is be there, so that when you come there, you'll just say, go ahead and do the amount and everything like that. I'll tell you what you have to present, but you can go ahead and tell them, go ahead and do the amount, because they are gonna have to run the paternity test anyway. So there's no need of talking about the money really, like they can't go forward with anything with the money until they've established that you are indeed the father and then legally responsible for the child. Therefore, after you do that, what you're gonna need to do is so be present. That's what I said. Don't miss anything. Make sure you be present. I just brought that first thing up to let you know that that's how much you need to be present. You know what I mean? Just to say, yeah, I want to do a paternity test. You got to be there to say that. And then number 2 is have your paperwork. So when I came, I did some studying and did some research. When I came, I had some essential things, and this is where I want to break it down for you. You need to have proof that you pay child care. If you do pay child care, bring your proof of paying child care, that you get a credit for paying child care. Understand that? So you get a credit for paying child care. They're going to give you whatever the amount was going to be. They're going to take some off if you already are paying child care. Okay? Number 2 is you need to bring some type of agreement between you and the mother of your child that says that it's shared custody, pretty much. What happened in my case is she pretty much did the wrote out the document, and basically it's shared custody, and that was what we were doing anyway. But she wrote out the document, but we'll switch weekdays, 2 weekdays, flop them, and then rotate the weekends. And so what I did is what she had typed out, and we both signed and agreed and dated and everything. Later on I found out that she actually put that in the divorce paperwork. What I found out is that when that was signed, what I did is I said, well, let me make a visualization of this so we'll know. And then I sent her the schedule. So I made a schedule, pink her days, blue my days, and it just basically was a visual representation of what we typed out. That's all it was. And so when I did that, I actually was able to bring those to court, about 3 or 4 months of those to court. Had that, and then I had the paperwork that we signed. I had a copy of that. I got a copy of that I signed. So I had that. I had the calendar that I made, and I also had the healthcare thing. And then what I had, but what necessarily might not have mattered. Let me tell you, this might not matter unless you're presenting it in some other type of way, which I didn't have to do. But maybe if I got pressed from that particular issue, I might would have thought about and researched that. But what's not going to matter is the receipts for clothes and all that stuff. But I had receipts for clothes, anything that I had. And so yeah, people were telling me to keep a journal. I think I read about that, keeping a journal. Hey, I had them this day, this is what we did this day, which sounded like good information. I didn't necessarily have to do that. And then the last thing was be prepared. And okay, so yeah, be prepared. So I was there, and then had my paperwork, and I was prepared. So I had a plan, I had a strategy. I understood that she had signed this paperwork, and this is what we was doing. Like, this is not nothing that I'm making up. Like, even, like if I was a lawyer, then even if it wasn't true, I could use this, like, to my advantage. But it is true. What the paperwork is saying is what I was doing, and I was having them most of the time. And so basically, I'm saying that to say I had the paperwork that said that we were going to alternate, basically a shared custody. And I also had the calendars to show how that worked out. When the judge asked me how does that look, I explained to her, and it's basically off of the calendar. and you know, I had the healthcare information that I was paying their healthcare. And so what I said in the first point is that it's not really you against the baby mama. It's more so you against the state and the economy of the state. And I said that because that's what I realized overall, is that I proved that I really do take care of my kids, that there's no need for the court, that in fact, you know, if the courts got in, I'd probably be having to do less support, you know what I mean? My kids are with me a certain amount of time, and when they're with me, I take care of them. And then I also pay other stuff like child care, and I'm also paying child care and health care. You know, so that child care is going to come into that. I didn't mention that. So child care is going to come into play as well. If you pay for child care, or you provide child care in some way or fashion, you might not be paying for it, but you might have some way of child care where when the children are in your care, you have somebody in place for that, but also that you're you know, that they're with you. So, you know, those are the things that pretty much got me through. I won my case. You know, really when you're really taking care of your kids and you're really there for your kids and spending time with your kids, if you have the paperwork to back it up and show it, you should be good. And if you're there, if you're present, that's really what it all boils down to. I know sometimes the system doesn't always work out the way it should, but basically, if you got the documentation to show that you take care of your kids, and you have the documentation to show that your kids are with you in some way, form, or fashion, or that you're providing child care for them, it's nothing else to really talk about. You know what I mean? And that's what the judge said. Boom. The judge said, I see that no one should have to pay. Boom. But you know, so even ladies, be careful, because you could be having to pay child support if the child of your father is already taking care of your kids. You might end up having to pay child support, because in my situation, it was both were up for grabs. Like, she was might have to pay me in a certain, but the judge was just like, nobody pay nobody. Seems like everything is good. Boom, boom, bada bang, bada boom. So, you know, that's my rant / vlog today, whatever it's gonna be. But I just wanted to share that with people, because you might be getting that paperwork, and I'm gonna show my paperwork later. I don't have it with me. I'm gonna show pictures on Instagram, so follow me on Instagram, Young Samaj Official. I'll show you my paperwork, so that you know everything I'm saying is legit. But keep rocking with me. I'm gonna keep trying to drop information like this, but I did this not to hate, not to be messy, but to really share, because when you get that paperwork and this court paperwork against you as a black man, it gets scary and you don't know what to do. So this is gonna help somebody, and I know it is. YoungSamaj.com, check me out. I'm gonna keep banging y'all's head out with these videos. It's all love, you know, peace, joy, everything. YoungSamaj.com. Got a lot of things going on. We popping. Yeah.